Hey guys, what's up? It's Katie and I'm back with another Marvel Contest of Champions video, and today we're going to be looking at Act 5.3.2, Light in the Tunnel. Now, I'm making this Act 5 series for a few reasons. The first is I have gotten a lot of questions recently about Act 5, and I'm finding them pretty hard to answer because it's been a long time since I've gone through Act 5, and there are also a lot of new players out there. I've got some friends who've, started playing the game who are looking for Act 5 content with relevant information, to champs for 2019. So I'm going to try my best to, walk through Act 5, go over the paths, the bosses, the nodes, and relevant champ information to 2019. So for this video, like I said, we're going to be looking at Act 5.3.2, Light in the Tunnel. Now, I will not be going over each path in a video. I may do that in later chapters, but in 2019, the nodes are pretty simple and straightforward. Now, from this point on, I will be putting in timestamps for whatever paths that I do record in the description below if you just want to jump to a certain path and watch it. Now, the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go over this spreadsheet that I have created for Act 5. And there is a link to the description of, there is a link in the description of this video to the spreadsheet. So you can go ahead and take a look at it. It is an active spreadsheet. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to comment in this video and I can take a look at it and update it as we go. So if you have a look here, I've got all the paths labeled. There are 5 paths for 5.3.2. I have the boss here, which is Howard the Duck. I've got a description of all of the nodes that are in 5.3.2 and as well as a map here. Now, you can go ahead and click on this map, download it, and use it to your advantage, when you're scouting out paths, especially for if you take a look at Path 5, which I have a video on that we'll go over. These are all hidden mobs, so you won't see them. So this allows you to plan accordingly what champs you're going to take in, figure out what nodes you're going to have, and that sort of thing. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the map here for 5.3.2. And if you notice, again, we've got keys. So there are 3 keys that you're going to need. You're going to need a mutant key, a cosmic key, and a tech key. And you'll get those, in later chapters. You may not get them all in 5.2 or 5.3. They may come on as you go down the road. Now, these, like I said, these keys can be found in other chapters, so you may need to go find a key in another chapter. Now, the global node here, let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. I kind of jumped around there. I apologize for that. Is overlocked. All champions but tech reduce their all classes but tech reduce their attack by 50%. So you're either going to want to bring in a tech champion or a class advantage. So if you don't have a good tech champ for that path, definitely bring in a class advantage, and I'll show you why here in a minute. So let's go ahead and take a look at this path. So as I said, there are 3 gated paths. They're gated by keys. There are 2 that are ungated, and those are paths 1 and 2. So they're in the green and the red, so they don't require keys to get through. Now, paths 3, 4, and 5, you'll definitely need a mutant key to get through before you can even go into paths 3, 4, or 5. Paths 1 and 2, they're about the same difficulty. It's kind of pick your poison as your first path through. Now, these are the longer paths. They're going to require more energy, but they are by far the easiest. They are unnoded and they are ungated. So, now, like I said, well, not like I said, but as you can see here, this path, or this map is very convoluted. You're going to be porting everywhere. So definitely use this map so you kind of get an idea of where you're going to port to. So as I said before too, all champions are revealed with the exception of Path 5, and I have unmasked them for you, and I will go over them in a video later on. Howard is the boss, and he has 4 links going to him. He's got True Strike, Power Start 2, Enhanced Armor Up, and Heavy Handed. Now, the only node that makes Howard really difficult is the Power Start 2. You're definitely going to want to have a champ that is at full health or as much health as possible, because he is going to come in and he's either going to fire off that special 2 or you're going to eat a special 3. So I highly recommend having a champ that is at full health when you bring him in against that fight, because even block damage, you take a lot, and I really don't know if his special 2 is fully manually evadable. Yeah, that made sense. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here at path 1 real quick. Now for path 1, you're gonna go through Hyperion and Gamora, so you're gonna have the class disadvantage. So, you know, bring in someone that can power drain, like Vision would be really good as a tech champ, or if you don't have a good tech champ that's gonna, you know, help you out with Hyperion, because sometimes he's not cooperative and he doesn't like to throw specials. So if you don't have someone like that, bring in a Mystic, someone like Magic who can power lock him is another really good option. All right, so then we teleport over here and we go through Thor, Jane Foster, Blue Cyclops, and Punisher, and then you shoot over here to Wolverine and to Hulkbuster, and then you shoot down here to Falcon and Black Panther Civil War. And then you come over here and you shoot through Moon Knight, and you go through She-Hulk. And like I said, she takes down the links through Beast and Storm, even though you're not going to fight them on a path and they're not linked to the boss. So very weird. Don't understand it, but whatever. Okay, and then you go on here to Electro, who's going to remove True Strike from Howard the Duck. Now with Electro, definitely bring in someone that's fully healed, or if you can, bring someone with ability accuracy reduction to negate some of that damage. Omega Red, he's good for it. I'm trying to think of a tech champ that could do it as well. All right, and then after we go through Electro, you're gonna shoot on down here, and you're gonna go straight down to the boss. Now you could, if you wanted to, if you had a cosmic key or a tech key and you wanted to buzz around the outside, you could do that as well. It's kind of a choose your own adventure if you have the key for it. If you don't have the key, just go straight down the middle and go straight to Howard. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at path 2, which is probably the easiest because there are no class disadvantage fights, excuse me. You know, we're gonna start here and we're gonna go through Yellow Jacket. Just be wary of that special one that he's got. He can, if you're not good at fully evading it, you're gonna get caught with the power sting, so be careful there. And then we go through Juggy, and then we shoot down over here to Ghost Rider, Daredevil, Colossus. Not too hard, especially there you've got the class advantage there, so that's always good, especially with the tech. And then we're gonna shoot on over here to Old Man Logan. Nothing too hard there. Both his specials are really easy to dodge. If you've got a heal block champ to stop his regen, that's always a bonus. Yondu's great, Civil Warrior, Sentinel, any one of those tech champs will work out great for that. And then we move over here to Magneto. Unfortunately, most of the tech champs are magnetized, so definitely be wary of that. And we come over here to Agent Venom. Be careful with his tenacity that he doesn't shrug off your parry and end up punching you in the face. And then we move on over to Winter Soldier. He's not that hard. Definitely just, you know, try to bait out those special ones over the special twos. They're easily to dodge. You can fully dodge a special one. His special two is not so much. And then we come down here, and like I said, you can either go straight down the middle if you don't have one of the two keys, or if you have one of the two keys, you can go around to the outside here. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure there. All right, now path 3 is where you're gonna need your first key. So path 3 and all of the bosses, or excuse me, the mobs in path 3, they are all noted. They all have physical resistance, power leak, and critical. So be mindful of that. They're not terrible nodes, but they can cause you some aggravation. But luckily, they are all mutants, so you will have the class advantage there. So, okay, so we shoot over here, we go down and we go through Nightcrawler. So just be wary of Nightcrawler. You know, we all know he likes to evade, so he can be that can be kind of a pain in the butt there. So if you can't get him switched over to swashbuckling mode, just, you know, go in for 3-hit combos and back out or block. And then we've got Cable. Don't want to bring in a champ that can bleed. You'll get degen put on you, so that's no bueno. And then we've got OG Deadpool. Definitely want to bring in a heal blocker. So again, Yondu would be really great here. Sentinel, he's another really good option. Civil Warrior, all you got to do is launch the heavy, so that's good. Red Skull actually is another good option. He can power drain and he can heal block off his heavy, so he's another really good option for this. And then we come over here and we're going to go through Beast and Storm. Now Beast and Storm, they're going to be linked from She-Hulk with enhanced abilities, so be mindful of that. Beast, definitely try to bait out those special ones. Be careful you don't get caught by one of them because he will stun you and he will come in hitting at you pretty hard. All right, and then we move on down here to Cyclops, and he is linked up also with enhanced abilities from Black Bolt over here. Again, it's a weird link, but okay, kabam. And then when you move through this node right here, you're going to unlink Power Start 2 and Enhanced Armor Up from the boss, Howard the Duck. So it's really weird that it's in the middle of the path and not on a boss, but, or not, excuse me, not on a mob, but okay, kabam. All right, and then from there we shoot on over here through Magneto and Gambit. Not too hard. Gambit, be wary of his special one. If he hits you with the special one, he's gonna stun you, but his special one's pretty easy to dodge, no worries there. And then from there you shoot on down here, and again, if you don't have one of the keys, you can either go straight down the middle or go around to one of the sides. It's kind of choose your own adventure. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take a look at Path 4. Now, Path 4 is one of the more difficult paths, so you are going to need a mutant key, again, just like as you would for Path 3 to get through this. Now, this is OG Thor, and he has enhanced armor, excuse me, he has enhanced armor break, enhanced fury, and plague mind. So watch that little timer so you know when you should or should not throw your specials so that your power isn't drained right before you get up to the special that you need to throw. You definitely want to bait out his special 1 over his special 2, but I kind of like to play a little bit on the edge with Nebula and try to get her shocks built up. Luckily for me right there, I had the regen kick in, otherwise I probably would have been dead. But overall, OG Thor, he's not really a hard fight. Any really heavy hitter champ is also gonna bring him down. Now, you do have class disadvantage for this entire path because there are all cosmics on here. So if you don't have a good tech champ to bring in here, you could definitely bring a Mystic in here to help you out. Magic would be a really great option for this. She does a ton of damage, plus she can keep him you know, power locked, and that'll help you too with the Plague Mind. But overall, OG Thor, he's not really a hard fight. Definitely don't want to push him to a special 2 though, unless you can fully evade it. All right, so now we're moving on to Drax, and Drax has enhanced bleed, enhanced fury, and plague mind as well. Now, Starkey works really great for these fights because he puts a taunt on your opponent, so it gets them to throw the specials easier, and Drax's specials are super easy to evade, and they're really easy to punish. So that's always good. Plus, if you build Sparky up to 10 poise charges, he's gonna do a lot of damage, which is great. You want to be careful here though with Drax when he gets that fury, since this is enhanced fury. He's going to start hitting like a ton of trucks, and champs like Sparky with low block proficiency are not going to be able to take that. But like I said, if you don't have a good tech champ to bring in here, a good Mystic is always another viable option. Someone with the class advantage is going to help you out, and there are a few Mystics later down the road that I'll talk about later that will definitely help you out for this chapter. But overall, Drax, not a hard fight. Just bait out those specials, don't push him to a special 3, and don't get clipped by that bleed. Otherwise, woo, it's gonna be bad news for you. Ooh, and now we're moving on to Angela. And Angela has recovery, enhanced precision, and plague mind. So Ultron is actually really good for this path. He's really good for this chapter too in general because of his regen, and you'll see that here in a little bit. But if you don't have Ultron, bringing in a heal block champ to stop her regen is also a really good bet. You could bring someone like Yondu. He's great. All you got to do is fire off that special 1. When her regen is going up, his heal block will will change from lasting 10 seconds to 20 seconds. So that's always good. Civil Warrior off the heavy. Red Skull, again, off the heavy, plus he's got power drain when you hit into his block. Iron Man Infinity War, he's got armor break and heal block, so he's another really good option for this. Sentinel would be another option for this. He has armor break and heal block, so plus he can add, you know, the shock and incinerate damage over time debuffs to help you out a little bit too. So he'd be another really good option for this. But Sim Supreme would be another really good option for Angela since she's got all those buffs. Morningstar, she would be another good one if you don't have any good tech champs for this path. Either one of those three would work out great. Of course, Magic. Magic is always good. Plus, the more buffs that they have up when you launch her special 3, the more damage that she does. So keep that in mind as well. All right, so now we're moving on to Ronan, and he's got Ragnarok, Enhanced Armor Break, and Enhanced Special 2. So you can see Ultron's got 35% health right now, and he's gonna regen up a lot. I can't remember if it's this fight or one of the next ones, but he regens up almost to 100%, which is awesome. So definitely with Ronan, keep him at his special 1. Don't try pushing him to his special 2. You can fully evade his special 2, but sometimes it can be a bit dodgy. His special 1 is much easier to dodge fully, so I highly recommend just baiting those out and going with that. But overall, Ronan, not a hard fight. Be careful, his special 2 is unblockable, so be mindful of that. But overall, it's just kind of your typical Ronan fight regardless. He's not a hard champ, he's just beefy. So you're gonna wanna bring in someone that's like a heavy hitter or that can add some damage over time debuffs, you know, to help you out a little bit. So you can see there, I pushed him to his special 2. Now, Ultron doesn't do a lot of damage. He's not one of the hardest hitting champs, that's for sure. And his bleeds, they're really not that great either. But he does have a lot of utility in regards to having double immunities and also that regen he gets. So keep that in mind when you're kind of thinking of your champs who you could bring in. He's a really good option for this. And I'm not just saying that because I have him as a 6-star. All right, so now we're moving on to Carnage. And Carnage has Bloodletting, Armor, Rolling Thunder, and Outlast. And so you can see that Ultron's at 28% right now, and he's gonna regen up a lot. But definitely try baiting either the special 1 or the special 2 out of Carnage. Either one of them, they're pretty easy to dodge and to punish, so not too bad there. Definitely don't want to get clipped here by Carnage. If you do with that Bloodletting, you're gonna bleed, and it's not gonna be pretty. So keep that in mind. Now, he does have armor, and Carnage does have some physical resistance to him, so bringing in a heavy hitter, someone that's bleed immune is always a good idea, just in case you do get clipped. If you can keep him power drained, that's always a good option too. So, you know, if you kind of want to play more aggressive, definitely go ahead and bring in one of the Visions, or go ahead and bring in a Mystic. You know, again, Sim Supreme would be great. Morningstar, she's another really good option. Scarlet Witch, she's a good option too. Magic, of course. There's a lot of really good Mystics out there that are going to help negate the global node. So even though they aren't, you know, tech class, they're still, because they have that class advantage, they're still not going to take the full 50% attack reduction. So keep that in mind as you're going in here, just in case you're like, well, I don't really have a good tech champ that could, you know, I could come in here with that, but I've got some good Mystics for this pass. So keep that in mind too when you're building your team. Use the map, you know, scout out your pass, scout out what you're going to take, what champs you're going to bring in, that sort of thing. But overall, Carnage is a pretty easy champ. If you do have a champ that can armor break, go ahead and bring them in. That'll help you out a lot here for him. All right, so now we're moving on to Superior Iron Man, and he has Enhanced Armor Break, Enhanced Armor Up, Recovery, and Outlast. So you're definitely going to want to bring in a heal block champ here for this. It's going to help you out a lot, especially when he gets down pretty low in health. But overall, Superior Iron Man, he's not a hard fight. If you can bring in an armor break champ, that's going to help you out a lot too. So anything like that. Again, if you don't have a good tech champ to bring in here, bringing in a Mystic champ is going to help you out a lot, get you that class advantage, and help you, you know, with the damage a little bit, and help negate that global node a little bit for you. So, but overall, Superior Iron Man, not hard. Once you bait out that special 1, he usually starts chain throwing them, and also with the special 2 as well. Both of those specials are easy to avoid, and I don't know what was going on when I was playing this, but Ultron was whiffing. I think he whiffs like 2 or 3 times in this fight. So, but overall, Spirit Iron Man, not hard. Again, Ultron is great for this because of his regen that he gets. So if you do have an Ultron, definitely bring him in for this path. You're going to be pleasantly surprised. I do have to say that much. All right, so now we're moving on to the boss. And you definitely want to bring in someone that is full health for that, because he's got power starts 2. So he is going to launch that special pretty quick, and you're going to want a champ that is either full health, who can take the blocked hits, or someone like Ultron that can regen. So something like that is going to help you out, because otherwise you're going to push him to his special 2, or excuse me, to his special 3, and you probably aren't going to survive it. So keep that in mind as you come in here. You know, again, if you don't have a tech champ, bringing in someone with class advantage, so bringing in a cosmic champ would work great here. Medusa with her armor shatter is going to be another really good option here. Help get some of those armors down. Someone who can put a taunt on to get that special, to get those specials out, is always good. Definitely want to, after that first initial, you know, special 2, definitely bait out that special 1 after that. And remember to be wary when you get him down to 50 and 20%, that he either gets the regen or the Thunder Quack. Now the Thunder Quack is going to degen you a lot. So try to get a parry in as soon as he gets down that far, so that you can prevent that from happening. Maybe you can luck out and get the regen, to which he's going to regen a good amount of health back. So keep that in mind as well. So you definitely want to stun him so that he doesn't get that. But see, we got the regen there, stunned him, lost the connection, stopped the regen. So, but overall, Howard the Duck, he's really not a hard boss. It's just that initial where you start off with the power start 2 that's kind of a pain in the butt, and you'll take the majority of your damage from that, because like I said, I'm not sure if you can manually evade that. I can't. I'm not saying it can't be done. I just know for a fact I can't do it. So, but overall, Howard the Duck, not a hard fight. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at Path 5. And so Path 5, we start out with OG Vision. Now, all the mobs on this path have Burden of Might, Limber, and Power Reserve. So with Limber, you definitely want to be careful of your parries. Keep that in mind. And with Burden of Might, basically with Burden of Might, how Burden of Might works is the more buffs you have, the less power you're going to gain, and you're going to get power drained when those buffs expire. So keep that in mind. Even buffs like, you know, Dexting, when you get the dexterity buff, even that is going to trigger the Burden of Might. So keep that in mind when you're going through this. With Power Reserve, that is when both yours and your opponent's specials cost half as less power. So they can be at a special 2, launch the special 2, and then they'll instantly be at 1 bar of power, like OG Vision right there. So keep that in mind. Vulture is the next one on the path, and Vulture is really not a hard champ, but sometimes I have issues, and you can get caught with that mist mechanic that he's got built into him right there. So keep that in mind when you're going through this. Now, this path is definitely the easier of the 2 that I've recorded, mainly because, you know, like Path 4, you were constantly at the class disadvantage if you brought in all your tech champions. So, but with this one, you've got a little bit more of a hodgepodge. So, or not a hodgepodge, I should say. You've got all tech champions on here, so not too hard. Moving on next to Star-Lord, and with Star-Lord, you definitely want to try to keep him at that special 1, and be careful. As you can see here, he's going to launch the special 2, and he's instantly back up to 1 bar of power. And so keep that in mind when you come through here, because they can fire off back-to-back specials like that, and you can get clipped. So keep that in mind, be careful of that. But any power drain champ here is going to help you out a lot. So either of the visions, they're going to be great for this, especially Age of Ultron Vision. He'll get that power steal too. So keep that in mind. And OG Vision with the synthesis, he's another really good one to have here. So keep that in mind when you come in here. You know, Civil Warrior's great. Red Skull would actually be really good for this as well. Now we're moving on to Yondu, and Yondu was probably the hardest fight on here, and the reason for that is that bleed that he gets. So, you know, keep that in mind when you're coming through here. You know, he can bleed you through your block. So definitely try to bring in a bleed immune champ in here. So Ultron's really good for this. You can kind of heal up a little bit too from Yondu's special 2 with Ultron if you push him to a special 2. Now you want to definitely try not to do that because you're going to take a lot of block damage from it. So try to bait out those special ones from Yondu. Watch that Yaka arrow. Try not Yaka arrow. Try not to get clipped by it because it can go through your block. So be mindful of that. But any one of the robots is going to help you out a lot here since they are bleed immune. So Ultron, either of the Visions, Warlock would be another really good option, especially if you have one of the Visions or one of the Ultrons to pair up, because if he would get something like a bleed put on him, then, you know, he's just going to convert it into a Fury buff. So keep that in mind when you're bringing champs in here. Plus Warlock, you know, he can kind of get the power drain going, so that's always good. And he's also really good for some of the other champs that regen, since he does have a passive heal block. But I digress. But, you know, Yondu, overall, he was definitely one of the harder fights on this path. I think he was even a little bit harder than Howard the Duck, the boss. And so keep that in mind as you're coming through here. But overall, not a hard fight. All right, and now we're moving on to Ultron. So just be wary of Ultron's evades. Definitely keep that in mind. He evades like every 7 seconds. So keep that in mind as you're fighting him. You don't want to get caught by that evade, because then he can come back and punch you in the face. So that's not good. But Starky's really great for this. You want to go ahead and build up his poise charges. He's going to do a lot of damage. Plus, he gets the stun off his special 1. So if you can time it right when Ultron is going to be getting his regen, you can stun him and instantly stop that regen from happening. So keep that in mind. Plus, you know, Starky's got the power drain off of his heavy, so he's a really good option for this. Star-Lord would be another one. He does a ton of damage. Really quick, I just didn't bring mine in because I only have a rank 3 4-star. All right, so now we're moving on to Rocket, aka the Trash Panda. No, I'm just kidding, maybe a little. But Rocket's not really a hard fight. He's, you know, pretty much breakable. He doesn't have a high block proficiency, but he does, on top of the Burden of Might, Limber, and Power Reserve, he does have unblockable special 2. So be mindful of that. Try to keep him at his special 1, especially if you're not that great at dodging his special 2, especially because his special 2 is like insta-death. So you don't want to get hit by that. And again, with the Power Reserve, any champ that's going to help, you know, Power Drain or Power Steal is going to help you out a lot here. So definitely want to bring in maybe one of the Visions. They'll help you out. Sentinel's really good here. Not only can he, you know, heal, block, and armor break, but he gets the damage over time debuffs with Shock off of his Heavy and Incinerate off of his special 2. Plus, you can build up those analysis charges, but overall, Rocket, not a hard fight. Just be mindful of the Power Reserve. So you can see he's just chain throwing those specials right now. All right, so now we are moving on to Iron Patriot. And for this one, a heal block champ would be ideal. Don't want to push him you don't want to push him past 2 bars of power, especially when he gets to that arc overload, because that'll push him to a special 3. So keep that in mind. Try baiting out those special 1s, and he is just chain throwing those special 1s right now, which is what you love to see. Iron Patriot's specials, both his specials are really easy to dodge. Special 2 can sometimes come out of nowhere from me and clip me, or I don't dash back far enough and he clips me on the end. So just be mindful of that. That's why I always prefer to bait out his special 1 over his special 2, but they're both fairly simple. Now he does have physical resist, so be mindful of that. as well. I'm trying to get this special out of him. I don't want to push him to a special 3 because that would be no bueno. But did take a good amount of block damage from that, but with Ultron it's all right. We'll be able to regen a lot of that back. Now Starky's another good option for this, especially with the taunt that you can put on him. Just build up those poise charges to do as much damage as you can. So, but again, just be mindful of that power reserve. But Iron Patriot, not a hard fight. All right, and so now we are back to Howard the Duck with his Power Start 2 and True Strike. And again, it's pretty much the same dance as before with Path 4. Nothing too hard. Just remember to come in with champs that are either at full health or nearly there, because otherwise you're pretty much gonna die from block damage from that special too, like how I did with Starky right there. So just be mindful of that. If you have an armor break champ, they're great for that as well. But anyways, guys, that's all that I got. Thanks for everyone for watching. Let me know in the comments below, who did you use for 5.3.2 Light in the Tunnel? Will you download this map and find it useful? Will you scout out your pass beforehand? Would you rather bring in the tech champs for the global node or someone with class advantage? Let me know in the comments below and let's discuss. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you guys liked what you saw and you want to see more, please remember to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and hit me up in the Discord chat. Thanks, guys. Bye.